Well, good morning to you guys. Welcome back to another update from Plot to Plate No Dig Allotment. Today it's a short video. We're going to be talking about compost and really the importance, if you can, produce your own compost. And it's for a couple of reasons why the video I'm making is very apt at this moment in time. In my opinion, I think that the price of compost by next year, if you buy in compost, will be skyrocketing. I think the whole system surrounding inflation and everything else that's going on in the world, with fuel prices going up and everything else, I think the price of compost will increase drastically, particularly because even of late they are saying about the cost of food is going up and so forth. And I think if you can't make your own compost and you've got to buy it in, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. But it is true, while you got access to compost at the moment, maybe you can just, if you need to buy it in, buy a bulk in now, so you'll be right for a season or two. That's obviously entirely up to you what you do there. But you do get what you pay for. That's my experience with compost. If you are buying any compost, I make my own. And I've done so for a long time. I do buy some in. Don't get me wrong. I've got a couple of bags here, which I'm going to demonstrate now. That there is massive difference in certain composts, in their consistency and in my experience, their ability to to grow nutrient dense food when you're planting your seedlings and things. So yeah. So I'm going to show you two different types of compost. Both of them are peat free, okay, but I want to show you the texture of them, and also just show you the difference, because and see if you can see which one you would prefer to grow in, just by sight alone. Okay, and now sometimes when you go to a supermarket and you buy some compost, you can, there's always a bag or two that's teared open. You've experienced this. Don't tell me you haven't, right? You have. I know you have. You've gone into a supermarket to buy compost and there's a bag or two that's been teared open because people want to look what's inside and what the compost is like. That's really what we do as gardeners. We want to know what's in that bag before we buy it, because each year that compost changes. We might buy it from the same company, but it's not the same compost that is being developed, as it were, because it just changes each year. So let's have a little closer look at what we got here. So let me just take you closer in now, guys, all right? So use my makeshift table, my tray. So I'm going to put an handful of one of the compost on and an handful of another one, and then you can tell me what you would grow in, which one you prefer to grow in. Put a bit more on so you can get a better look. Okay, there's the one, okay. And there's the other. Now there's slightly difference in the colour, which is not always a telling sign, because sometimes the compost is just literally wet in the bag, so, and it could be drier. But there is a difference, 100% difference, in my opinion, in the growing of these. And these are both seed compost, just to let you know. It's not a multi-purpose. They both seed compost to start off your seedlings, sowing your seed in and then transplanting into the pots. You can use a different type of compost, but this is seedling compost to plant your seeds in. So on the one on the left there, and then you go one, might be on your left, but the one I'm pointing to now, guys, right, just in case you're not sure which one it is on the video when it comes out. So this compost here, it looks nice and dark and looks quite a healthy compost, and it's not bad. But if I was going to use this, this would probably be used not for seedlings, but for plants, transplanting plants into like larger containers and things like that, because you can't see it here, but there's little bits of timber, bits of wood, and in all honesty, I have added a little bit of plastic in this compost here as well. Like I said, I'm not going to let you know which company it is, But this is one I used last year, and I've used a bag of it this year. I have spoken to the company about the plastic that they found in it, but there we go, they haven't replied yet. But you can see here, there's all these little bits of, see that? It's like bits of fibre. It's like, I don't know, some sort of root stem or something that hasn't decomposed. There's all little tiny bits of wood in there. Now, as a mulch maybe on your beds, or like I said, planting something like transplanting plants into this, yeah. But for seedlings, honestly, you know, that bit of matting almost of root there, if you had a seedling underneath that, then it's not going to grow. It's going to struggle to push through, put it that way. It will struggle to push through that, and it's quite fibrous. Look. It's quite hard to even break apart. So if I can, you know, if I'm struggling to break it apart, then obviously the seedlings are going to struggle with that, aren't they? So, whereas this, on the other hand, is a more expensive compost, seed compost, but the quality is just superior, in my opinion. Again, just in my opinion. There's no wood or no bits of timber or nothing in this. It's just so fluffy. It's difficult to show on a video, but it's so fluffy and light. And it's got a little bit of water retention, but when you touch it, it just crumbles back up. Look, it's a really good, look, compost. Now this is a bit more expensive, but the success rate of my seeds in this, in comparison to this, is far superior. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you which company it is, because I don't really want to do that, but I'm just trying to highlight, really, that what you buy in, you know, can make a difference. And sometimes it's a bit frustrating if you were starting off and you're learning gardening, and you put seeds in, you follow all the YouTube videos, and you're doing exactly what they're telling you and suggesting. So you're doing everything right, and yet your seedlings are not growing, or they're struggling. And you might think, oh, I'm just not good at this, I'm rubbish. And it's not you. Sometimes it can be the seed, or sometimes it can actually be the compost. So you were doing everything right. So I don't want you to become discouraged if you're new to gardening and you're struggling to grow seeds. It could just be, well, the compost that you're growing in. So just, you know, try a couple of different types of compost, seeding compost, and you'll find one that is suitable for you. This one here, like I said, is a bit more expensive than this one. Nearly double the amount in price. I'm dreading to think what this will cost next year. Hence, that's why, as you can see on previous videos, that I'm actually making my own compost. In fact, let me just show you my compost. That's what I'll do. I'll show you a handful of my compost now. Let me just move these to one side. I'll be back now, 2 seconds. Okay guys, so there we are. There's the 3 composts. Cheaper version, it's got bits of fibre and root in it which hasn't decomposed and broken down. We have the more expensive compost, and then we have Carlos's compost. Now this is not one that I've made, I will admit, it's not one that I've made, and in fact if you look at it closely you will find little bits of twig in it. But that's alright. And the reason why I'm okay with that is because I don't grow my seeds in it when it's like this. Now this is the broken down wood chip that I had outside. You will notice on my previous videos that I basically got a big pile of broken down wood chip outside the allotment. So the guys come in, take what they want regarding the wood chip, the fresh stuff, and obviously they only take what they need for the paths, but there's always a pile left. And what happens over the years is that it just decomposes. So I just move the fresh stuff to one side and go down deeper and dig into that broken down material, and then sieve it with my machine. And my machine's a cracking piece of kit, and it produces this type of material, which is superb compost, to be honest, and it's ideal for what I want out of it. Now if I was to grow seeds in this, I wouldn't do it as it is, because like I said, there is bits of timber in it, but I have got an hand riddler, and I basically hand sieve, and I would sieve it down to a smaller degree. Now this is quite damp because it's been outside. This is quite fine because it's been kept in a nice bag, and it's obviously a bit drier. So this material, my own compost from outside, is damp and it looks a bit twiggy, but if I was to use it for seeds, I would sieve it down again to a smaller grade and then plant my seeds in it, which I've done numbers of times in the past with success. What I would say is, with this material, this goes on my beds, on my no-dig beds at the end of the growing season. So around about October, November, I put a thin layer, 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, all over my beds. And then that basically then gives the plants, or the soil I should say, the soil a feed ready for the following season. So all those microorganisms come up in the soil, undisturbed soil because there's no dig, and actually take down this material. And yeah, the plants actually love that then in the following season. But yeah, so I would grow seeds in this, but I would sieve it down. Okay, so that's the key there with this material. But you've got 3 different composts, and I have got my own compost heap, which I produce about 1.5 tons of compost each year as well, which obviously goes onto the ground. But I also sieve that down and use that for transplanting seedlings and things as well. So, you know, the benefits here of this is that, you know, your own compost is free. Doesn't cost you nothing. A lot of money. Cheaper, but not very good for growing seedlings in. So obviously you can make up your own mind what you want to do and what you want to buy, but in my personal opinion, if you are growing seeds and you want to have the best possible start, you know, I would personally use the more expensive compost. I'd only buy a bag or 2 in for my seeds and just use it entirely for seed growing. If I wanted to transplant those seedlings into pots, I would probably use my own compost to do that. And then finally, this would be my 3rd choice, purely because of all this bits of timber and wood and fibre and things, you know, which is not very fine, and that does struggle when you're growing seedlings in it, guys. So there's just a personal opinion, which doesn't count for much. So anyway, you take care and have a good one. Catch you in the next one, and don't forget to hit that subscribe.